New Testament reading is 1 Corinthians 2, 7 through 13, page 167. But we speak God's wisdom, secret and hidden, which God decreed before the ages for our glory. None of the rulers of this age understood this, for if they had, they would not have crucified the Lord of glory. But as it is written, what no eye has seen, nor ear heard, nor the human heart conceived, what God has prepared for those who love him. These things God has revealed to us through the Spirit, for the Spirit searches everything, even the depths of God. For what human being knows what is truly human, except the human spirit that is within? So also no one comprehends what is truly God's, except the Spirit of God. Now we have received not the spirit of the world, but the Spirit that is from God, so that we may understand the gifts bestowed on us by God. And we speak of these things in words not taught by human wisdom, but taught by the Spirit, interpreting spiritual things to those who are spiritual.
How many of you have been to Disney World? Raise your hand if you've been to Disney World. A lot of you have. How many of you at least have seen Disney World, whether on television or in some other media context? Raise your hand. Even if you know, that's everybody, just about. But actually, you're wrong. You're just wrong. The truth is that no matter how many of us, and I would answer that question too, I've been there, would say yes, probably nobody in this sanctuary has truly seen Disney World. And I include myself. Only that part of Disney World that the Disney Corporation wants you to see. And we know that there is a lot of Disney World, a lot more than you might realize, that we do not see, that is not seen. Now, I've never taken this tour before, but, you know, Amy and Patty and I, we were in Florida for a long time. Patty grew up there. And a friend of mine in our church there took that very special tour of Disney World that covers that part of the park that most of us that have gone there or seen it had never seen. My friend described it as a complete underground city, almost larger than the park that it was built to service. There are dressing rooms, there are underground roadways, there are tunnels, there are repair and supply shops, there are operation centers, offices, and just about everything else that it takes to keep such a huge enterprise operating 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Even that tour of the Disney Underground only covers a small part of the hidden complex. There are entire underground communities dedicated solely to security and financial operations. It is there. It is always there at Disney World, because the park could not operate without it. But it is completely hidden from the average visitor, who never realizes when they're there that underneath his or her feet are thousands of people making sure that the thousands of employees above their heads can do their jobs at creating Disney World for the tens of thousands of people who visit every day. So much of life is like that. I think Disney World and things like it is art imitating life. We see the part, but we never see the whole. This is true when it comes to life, and this is especially true when it comes to people, to us. Because although those around us may appear on the surface as a still pond or a storm-tossed ocean, there are fathoms of emotion and experience that we never see. And the same in us. Things that we never reveal to others. Things so deep that we do not even understand them ourselves. Is that not true? Yet it is a human foible to assume that what we perceive with our senses is enough to lead us to a confident analysis and conclusion about something or someone else. And in my opinion, in no place is this more true than in our perception of the Church of Jesus Christ. Have you ever thought about the church as a mystery? Probably not, because for many of us, it is and always has been such a regular part of our lives. You remember that little rhyme that we used to say, I practiced this about the church, using our fingers. Here's the church, here's the steeple, open the door. See all the people wiggling around there, right? See all the people. What other things would we add along with us, the people? Music, classrooms, books, praying, preaching, congregational singing. We could go on and on and on. One of the frustrating things for me as a pastor who has spent my life as a church professional, as we sometimes call ourselves, is how so little people understand about how the church operates on a daily basis. Not only that, what's really frustrating is about how little I can share about that. Because so much that we do in the Church of Jesus Christ is confidential. We just can't share it. And that's okay. That's the way it ought to be. But when I hear people say or summarize or conclude things about the church, which I know that are not true, I just get very frustrated. You know, in fact, in the eyes of much of the world, the church is actually pretty mundane, if not downright boring. Let me tell you this. Here at Trinity, in downtown Tucson, they ain't never a boring day. I promise you that. That's why I like it. The reason for the world's misunderstanding of the church is illustrated in our Old Testament story this morning from 1 Kings, which chronicles the history of several of the great prophets. And in this case, it is Elijah. Elijah had just defeated the prophets of the pagan god Baal, where the living presence of God was, in a very dramatic way, shown to all the people. Now, you would think a ball of lightning coming down and striking an altar from heaven would pretty much be enough to convince people that Elijah's God was the true God. But it didn't work out that way. Jezebel, the pagan queen of Israel's king Ahab, had sent a message to Elijah informing the prophet that she intended to kill him. Elijah traveled to Mount Sinai, the place where God first appeared to Moses, in order to receive instruction directly from God as to how to respond to this threat. Actually hoping that God would respond to that threat directly. Elijah is dejected. Elijah is despondent. He was hoping that with God's certain victory over the priest of the Baals, that his mission would be accomplished. But now he is isolated. Now he is in grave danger. Huddling in a cave on the mountainside, Elijah expects to encounter God's presence through all of the traditional ways that God had previously appeared to some of the prophets. So what happens? First, a strong wind enfolds the mountain. But as Elijah faces the wind at the cave's entrance, it becomes clear to him that God's not in the wind. It just blows. Next, there is an earthquake, a sure sign that God is present, followed by some manifestation of fire. We're not sure what it is. Maybe it's lightning. But again, God is not in those things. God does not appear to the prophet. Suddenly, everything grows absolutely quiet, much like the aftermath of a violent storm. And it is then, in the darkness of the cave and the utter silence of the night, that Elijah hears a still, small voice. A whisper, actually. The whisper tells Elijah to go. The whisper tells Elijah to continue in his work, letting him know that God is going to work things out for Israel. Not through fiery displays of a divine presence, but through the historical events that will soon take place. Elijah wanted God to stand forth and fight for him. Instead, God sends Elijah forth in the face of death and tells him that God will be there with him, but will be behind him, underneath him, around him, working things out through the work of those who love and obey him. Telling Elijah that he'll be okay, even in the face of Jezebel's anger. Around 1,000 years later, an apostle of Jesus Christ wrote this: "But we speak God's wisdom, secret and hidden, which God decreed before the ages for our glory. None of the rulers of this age understood this, but as it is written, what no eye has seen, nor ear heard, nor the human heart conceived, what God has prepared for those who love him. These things God has revealed to us through the Spirit, for the Spirit searches everything, even the depths of God." Of course, that's Paul. The part of Christ's church that you and I experience on a Sunday morning in this sanctuary is but the tip of a spiritual iceberg that stretches from this world all the way into heaven. That is why it is important for us not to get discouraged about the church when it seems to be moving in an uncomfortable direction, or a direction we don't want it to go, when it seems to be pushed aside by the world or the culture, or when it seems trapped in the ordinary problems and pitfalls that plague humanity. Because it is human. Here's the way I like to think about it. I'll tell you a story. Once when I was on a flight, going overseas, this was years ago, as I got on the plane, sat down, they closed the doors, and I noticed there was a fly on the plane. And the fly was buzzing around, right? Kind of annoying. The fly was doing what flies do every day to survive. The plane flew off. The fly had no idea that it was on its way to Europe. It just went buzzing around, right? Flying around. And that fly flew the whole trip, mostly on my food, to Europe. And then we landed. Now, I don't know what happened to the fly. I assumed the door opened and the fly went out to once again do what flies do, having no idea that it had just arrived in a completely different land. It just kept on moving and living and doing what it knew how to do. The Church of Jesus Christ, this church, all churches, all believers are on a vast journey toward an ultimate destination. But that doesn't mean we're going to see it or know it. Rather, Christ has called us to simply be the church and to trust in that church that is beneath our feet, that spiritual journey given to us and known only to God. The reality of God is not found in a Cecil B. DeMille movie filled with overwrought drama, beautiful actors, incredible stunts, elaborate scenery, and special effects. The reality of God is found, and this is what Elijah had to learn, in the still small places that the world never notices, never even sees, in a child's drawing of a Bible verse, in the quiet of a bedside prayer in a hospital room, in the joy that was shared when the 4th on 4th of the dinner, when those who came in were fed, or in an anthem or a Christmas pageant, in the laughter of hearts that come together to help others, in the shelter that we sponsor here, or in a simple handshake with those words, "The peace of Christ be with you." There God is. And many of these things, even as we experience them here, the other things we never see, but they happen a million times a week in a million places all over the world. Just because we see them doesn't mean they don't happen. I think the question for us this morning is this one. Can we trust that no matter what we may see or hear or think about God's church, about Christ, the body of Christ, there is much more going on beyond our seeing, our hearing, and our thinking? Can we trust that? Dietrich Bonhoeffer answered that question in one of his books when he wrote these words. And he really understood, if you consider his situation in Nazi Germany, he had to believe there was more than what the state German church was doing at that time. And this is what he wrote: "It is not we who build. Christ builds the church. Whoever is mindful themselves to build the church for themselves is surely well on the way to destroying it. For he will build a temple to idols without wishing or even knowing it. We must confess Christ builds. We must proclaim Christ builds. We must pray to him, and he will build. It is a great comfort which Jesus gives to his church. You confess, preach, bear witness to me, and I alone will build where it pleases me. Do not meddle in what is not your providence. Do what is given to you, and do it well, and you will have done enough." That's good news. We don't carry the weight of God's work in the world on our shoulders. God takes care of that. Christ does that through the Spirit. But we are given the ability to do our part. And nobody knows what the full part is for each other, but we do. And we're just called to do it, each of us. And then together, to do together what Christ has called us to do. So may that be so with us, here in this still, small church, with hearts that can move the world in the still places, in the small places. In fact, in all places. Glorious news. Letting God do the work and making ourselves a part of his kingdom. Praise the Lord and amen. Our hymn